Priyanka, what is the definition of a phrase?
It's like a short, like it has a subject.
No. Definition of a phrase. Sydney, can you give me the definition of a phrase? I'm sorry?
It's a part of a sentence that
See, both of you, I think, are confused because you expect me to talk about today's subject, which is clause, but I'm not talking about today's subject until I contrast it with the previous subject, which is phrase. So I'm looking for the definition of a phrase. Omar.
A group of words which contains no clear subject and starts with the predicate and acts as a single part of speech.
Very good. Number of qualities of that definition. Number one, numerous words. Phrase implies numerous words. Number two, that group of words groups together to act as a single part of speech. And number three, it does not contain a distinct subject and predicate. So there's your definition of a phrase. And that definition you can pull from the Warreners as well. So, Christian, what is the difference then between the clause and the phrase in grammar?
Well, the clauses have subjects and predicates.
Bingo.
And phrases.
Christian, advanced question. How small is the smallest clause in English?
Sort of like one word.
Very good. Can you give me an example of a one-word clause?
Run.
Very good. What is the subject of that sentence?
Implied you.
Very good. Nice job, Christian. Implied you and run. So you is the subject, run is the predicate. That is a complete clause because it has both subject and predicate. The subject is merely implied. So your clause is a structure containing a subject and a predicate. Very simple. But I don't want you to make a number of mistakes. First of all, phrases and clauses are not the same. Do not use them interchangeably. Second, phrases are often longer than clauses and appear to be more complicated. Do not think that just because clause contains subject and predicate and phrase doesn't, that means clauses are always longer than phrases. Think about the grammar. Don't think about length or any other sort of superficial quality of the structure. Two primary clauses exist in English grammar. The independent and the dependent. Anybody give me the alternate name for the dependent? Yes. Subordinate clause is correct. So you will find me using these two interchangeably, dependent and subordinate. So if you're confused at some point, I apologize. It depends upon what sentence I'm constructing, which one I'm using. Dependent contrasts nicely with independent, but subordinate's nice because it usually helps us remember subordinating conjunctions, which often signal these clauses. So, Nora, give me a definition of an independent clause. Very good. It can stand on its own and make sense by itself. I like the way you put that. Perfect. Well, if that's the case, then Ron, what is the definition of a dependent or subordinate clause? Not a word. Very good. A clause that?
Uses another word to stand it.
Come on, Ron. You're trying to make this more sophisticated. I know this is Honors English 10, but it's not that abstruse or sophisticated. Independent, dependent, they contrast. If independent's definition is a clause that stands on its own, what's the definition of dependent? Very good. That's it. So to put this in other terminology, Ron, if you were to read this clause out loud by itself, people would look at you with a confused dog stare because they're waiting for you to complete that idea. Can somebody give me just a dependent clause? In other words, create a sentence fragment for me. Give me an example. Michael? No, that's independent. That can stand on its own. He ran works by itself. I want one that doesn't work by itself. Gretchen?
Without asking me first?
Without asking me first is actually a phrase. Good idea, but it's a phrase. Elise? What I saw. Excellent. What is the subject of that clause? And what's the verb? What's the word in there that makes it a fragment or makes it dependent? Very good. What connects it to something else. What is a joining word in this sense? We'll talk about what specific kind of joining word later, but what begs the question what you're joining it to. Somebody give me another one. That's a phrase, though. I want a dependent clause. You have a noun. You just gave me a noun phrase, Sydney. Michael, you have one?
When we go to the store.
When we go to the store. Excellent. What's the subject?
We.
And what's the predicate?
Go.
Correct. And what's the word that connects it to something else?
When.
Very good. These are dependent clauses. They make no sense on their own. Independent clauses make sense on their own. They can stand. Our task today is merely to identify them and try to talk about how they're acting. Dependent clauses can act as three different parts of speech. Anybody know which three?
An adjective, a noun, and an adverb.
That is correct. Thank you, Michael. They can act as adjectives, they can act as nouns, they can act as adverbs. They cannot act as verbs or any other part of speech. They act as one of those three. So, if they are an adjective, that means that they are modifying what? If they're an adverb, they're modifying what? Or? Or? Another adverb. Thank you. Adverbs modify adjectives, adverbs, or verbs. One of the three. Usually a verb. And nouns. Ooh, big question here. What do nouns do in sentences? Possibly. They usually interact with verbs, actually. They like action.
They tell who or what is.
That's true, which means they act as subject, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so nouns can act as subject. What else can nouns act as?
Objects.
Which type? Give me the three different types of objects. Nope, not implied. Anybody know the third type of object? You're doing very well, Connor. Solid. This is one that we haven't studied all that much. The object of a prepositional phrase. In the car. Car is a noun acting as the object of that prepositional phrase. So, if these clauses are acting as nouns, they must be doing one of these tasks. Adverbs modify adjectives, adverbs, or verbs. Adjectives modify nouns.